Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And today we are looking at software package management in Linux. Today we'll be covering topics on apt, which is Ubuntu or Debian based, and DNF, Yum, RPM, which is Red Hat based. I'm not going to cover SUSE Linux. I don't have virtual image running. So today I have apt, basically Ubuntu running, and I did add some details on how to run a Red Hat based machine too. Why software management, why it is so important for Linux administration, and uh, even after you are moved on, you are a software engineer deploying solutions in cloud and maybe in Kubernetes, you still need to know package management. First of all, what is the importance of package management, right? So uh, in Linux, so let's talk Windows first, because most of the users understand Windows, I believe, very easily. You download something, you go and double click, and it shows a nice UI, and things get done in the background. When I say things get done in the background, the installer is going to unzip few files. It's going to place some files in maybe etc, sorry, in program files, uh, and it'll create a directory. In that directory it'll place the exe files, it'll place the configuration files, it'll create registry entries. It also kind of places some DLL files, right? Dynamic link libraries. That's what happens on Windows side. Although what you see is a UI where you are clicking and something is happening, right? Similar story here on Linux side too. You could do something similar. There are UI interfaces available, but what we need to understand is why package management was needed. Package management was needed at the very first place because every software that you run, it has some dependencies. Every software that you run, it has some linked libraries that a software is dependent on. So to run a software, you need all those things kind of combined together in a package and get delivered on a system. So that is one reason why would you need package management. Another reason could be if you have, let's say, two type of packages that do the same job. For example, you have mail server. There are very popular mail servers, two mail servers. One was Exim, another was Qmail. Now, some of the folks might know there is a Sendmail, there is Postfix. So there are four solutions that help to run a mailing server on your machine. But since they all four are delivering the same functionality, they need to listen on the same port, port 25, right? Because they are all MTAs, mail transfer agent. You cannot basically deploy all four on one machine. If you do, you can run only one at a time, right? That was just one example why I think package management is important. When there are conflicts, it can figure out what service to run and which one to stop. You can configure dependencies. You can say if package A is getting deployed, it is dependent on B. So that can be handled. Another problem with open source is, since source code is available on internet, everybody is publishing something. I could write something and publish. What if somebody takes my source code, builds something, makes it available, but it has some malicious code? How do we go and check whether the source is authentic or not? Package management has something to do these checks too. So there, every service provider, for example Ubuntu, or we call distributions, Red Hat, Fedora, they have their own keys, so called. those keys are used to sign these packages. So packages are nothing but a zip file in a way, if you understand it in very layman terms. But that zip file has a lot of files that get delivered in different directories in the system that helps to run the software. Software could have dependencies. Zip file handles that too. And it also handles these things. For example, key verification. What if you want to uninstall it? You need to have a standard way of removing also. So something should have a, kind of list of things that got installed. Something should maintain a registry of things that need to be removed. What if you want to update the operating system, right? For all these reasons, or update the package, for all these reasons you need a strong package management solution, right? So every distribution kind of came up with their own style of package management, their own solution. uh, apt is gaining more and more popularity because of containers. Most of the containers are running Ubuntu based solutions. People are using, basically, it is all Debian forks uh, inside those containers. People are using apt commands. But how do we kind of use these commands? That's what I have provided on this one. It's very easy. You get inside your machine and you do first do apt update, right? So let's see if what we have. So I have multipass list. I have learn Linux running, which is Ubuntu, and I have a Vagrant machine running. So Vagrant status, I think, or I should have done, okay, global status. Anyways, it's running. So if I say vagrant ssh, I should land inside that machine. And uname hyphen a, it provides me, it is kind of el9 cat etc uh, red hat lease, it says 9.3, right? So I have a Red Hat running, which I deployed using Vagrant. So I did provide some commands. If you scroll down, I have given a link and you can create directory. Basically, all you need to do is install Vagrant on your machine. You might need VirtualBox, but this should be good enough to build a Vagrant VM running Rocky um, Linux 9. Coming back to apt. So how does it work if I say multipass shell? Since I configured uh, my multipass machine as Lardle Linux, so if I say shell, I land inside this machine. So I did multipass shell and I'm inside that. So if I log in, you see it says 15 update can be applied, this, that. It shows some messages, right? How does it know all this? So what I'm doing is switching to root user, and I'll show you. There are, you know, basically, apt has some sources from where it brings these updates. The message you see 15 updates are available immediately, it mostly comes from all these directories. For example, it says right inside this directory there are sources available. So if I say Ubuntu sources, and hold on, let's do egrep hyphen v, line starting with the and ending. So all the empty lines remove all the lines that are commented out, and give me only clean output, right? So with the grep I removed all that. So what it is doing inside this file, it says uh, Debian type or deb type packages, and from where to get it from here. And this is the distribution that it talks about, and what all components should get. And then this is the key I was talking about. how do we make sure if a package I'm installing on my system and it is open source package, is it coming from an authentic source? This is what helps to do that, right? These keys help to validate the package before it gets installed. If you are not root, for example, you log in and then you want to kind of get the list of updates, you run apt update. So what it is doing, it is going to those repositories, for example this one, and I was saying this is the kind of release, right? So inside this noble, it is looking for updates in these directories, and once it is done, it'll say I made all this list, and then you can run, sudo, because we are not root, we'll have to run it like this. And now you can see messages, right? It says this version is upgradable to this version, right? You can do from that version to newer version, right? So that's how you kind of get updates. What if you want to install a software, right? We still need to run this command. This command helps to pull latest information from repositories so that when you run install, it knows what version is available, what dependencies are available. So this command will run successfully if you do this. If you are trying to run it inside container and you skip to do this, there is a good chance that command will fail, right? So you should always run update and then do this, right? So it makes a local cache as well, so it's not every time it is going to query to internet. um, well, let's do this, and if I run this, what it is doing, what I'm saying, apt install nmap. Nmap is network mapper. It is trying to download and install it. This gives us very good view into what happens. It says there are falling additional packages that will be installed. Why? Because these are dependencies for nmap. Nmap package will not function properly if these packages are not installed. And for these, it says there are some suggested packages that I'll install. There are some existing packages that I'll update to ensure you are getting the latest version, right? So you say why, now it is downloading all those packages and it'll install. Within few seconds, it'll say I'm done, and you'll get the shell back. That's it, right? But how do you kind of run this? You can just say nmap, right? And you'll be able to run commands. So if I say nmap hyphen hyphen help, right? So there is a command available, nmap now. But what if I want to remove it? Simple, sudo apt remove nmap, right? When I'm removing it, you can see it is removing some of the dependencies too. Once I do this, I will have to do sudo auto remove. Now it will find there are packages that were installed and no longer needed. You want to uninstall them, say sudo apt auto remove. There are commands like apt clean, clean all. I think there is one. This removes the kind of local cache. Sudo apt update, if there are local cache files, it helps to remove that. If there are configuration files, for example nmap be installed, there was no configuration file, but imagine you installed let's say a mail server, right? And then there are configuration files for that mail server in etc directory. To remove that, you will have to use purge nmap, right? Hyphen hyphen purge option if you want to remove configuration files also. By default, it doesn't remove that because there is a good possibility when you remove a package, you're going to reinstall it, right? If you are reinstalling the package, you don't want to go and reconfigure everything from scratch. If there is a backup available, it's good chance, it's a one of the best practices, right? Whenever you're modifying something in a system, take backup. That's what packages also do. Then you can do upgrade. Look at this, it says upgrade. You can upgrade a given package. You can say sudo apt-get upgrade, it'll install updates for all the packages also, right? You can search for a package. let's say, search for a package, maybe X ice. Right? So if you search for Xeyes, it shows you if there is a package named Xeyes, right? X edit. Let's see if there is X edit. Yes, it shows you wherever there is a reference to X editor. For example, hex editor HT also has somewhere a reference to it, right? Then you can list installed packages. There is a package that was installed. You can kind of show it. uh, all these commands are high level commands. So apt package manager is a high level solution. Every distribution has a high level uh, package manager and a low level command that actually does the things, right? For example, if you want to see files installed by, then you can do dpkg, right? Debian package manager. So let's reinstall what we just removed. Install and map again. Since I did apt clean, it deleted, otherwise it would have installed very quickly because it keeps a local copy too. But anyways, let's see. First, let's say show and map, right? It shows some information about that package. Hyphen list installed. Okay, so it shows all the packages. So I want to know what is xauth apt show, right? Then it is showing some information from where it came, who, some information on dependencies, whether it was manually installed or not, right? Anyways, that's the idea. So now if you want to see the files in a package and map we just installed, where did it place different files inside the file system, right? So this is how you list with the um, dpkg. So this dpkg is low level command, right? So if you are doing it like this man pt, then it is telling you, what all packages installed this file. So let's see, etc some file, let's say etc magic. There is a magic file, right? So now etc magic is installed by this, right? So if I say etc lvm.conf, it says lvm2. So how do I know whatever it is printing is something? I can do this dpkg-l, right? Or I can do apt show and lvm2. That's how I can basically figure out, right? So dpkg-s helps you to find what package owns this file. dpkg-l help you see what were the files installed by package, right? So I think that's about it on dpkg. I'll show you how does it look like. There are similar features in Rocky or Red Hat or Fedora, anything that runs RPM based solutions, right? So RPM-QA, RPM is the low level command, right? So in Ubuntu, we had apt high level command. In Rocky, Red Hat, anything that is RPM based, there is yum command, yellow dog update manager. You can use that. But with the newer releases, package management, higher level tooling is moving towards DNF. So I did mention somewhere here that it is moving towards DNF. So it is identified yum, right? So you can run similar command like sudo DNF update, right? So DNF check update, it is doing exactly the same thing that we saw happen in uh, Ubuntu, right? So it is going looking at a file. From that file, it's figuring out the sources, and from those sources, it is downloading some of the metadata information, and that information will help it when we run install command, update command, list command, and all that, right? So what where does that configuration come from, right? So here is DNF, and then inside that, cat etc dnf.conf, and you can see it shows some details, and here will be some, I think, modules, if I'm not wrong. Wow, it has changed. Yeah, it is still using yum. So cd etc yum, you can define variables here, you control few things, but yum.repos.d is where your repos are located. And for example, we can look at this epel repo, and um, when I expand that file, let's do the same thing. Let's remove all the egrep-v and line starting with the hash, and line starting, okay, hash is okay. EPEL EPEL dot repo. So now we see extra packages for Red Hat Enterprise Linux. This is where it is searching for those packages. It is enabled. It'll do GPG check. It'll count this file too, and then here is the GPG key that it validates. Before a package gets installed, package gets checked whether the GPG key is matching or not, so that if there is a package that is tampered, that doesn't get installed on your system. Okay, so now we know it is something similar. There we had etc, I think it was apt, and inside that there was sources.list. Here we have yum.repos.d, right? Similar story in both cases. You do DNF check updates on Red Hat based systems versus apt update, right? And then let's see, it says you install a package. How would you install? You do DNF, then install, then curl. uh, I can do it like this, but I'm not going to install it. If you want to do, you can do this as well. Not a good practice. You should not do this -y. You can run with -y on Ubuntu systems too. Exactly works the same way. But since it is a test system, I'm going to do it. Before, with the Y, it is not presenting you with any kind of review where you control yes, no, right? It is just going to install, right? It is, uh, if there is a conflict, there is a good possibility it will show that there is a conflict, it will stop the install. But overall, what it did, it installed a couple of packages. You can see it figured out all the dependencies and then finally installed it, right? So similar story, how do you remove it, how do you do upgrade, how do you search for a package, right? So sudo dnf search, let's say nmap, search for the nmap again, right? You can see it found nmap, dnf info nmap. It is bit better, it can show whether it is installed or not. It can kind of give you a bit more details into x eyes EYES. It is searching. If it is not able to find, okay, DNF search. It doesn't find X host. Okay, search uh, X edit should be there. Oh, there is hex edit. DNF info h hex edit, right? Then it shows you the information, where it came from and dependencies, where it was built and all that, right? So you can do all these. Then DNF, there is also an option which is history. tells you what was done recently. With history, you can do undo number 8. If I do that, it's gonna go and remove. Uh, okay, so sudo dnf undo rpm. No, let's not do this. Let's do this. In fact, dnf remove curl. Let's see. There seems to be a new thing happening here. Uninstallable packages, only best candidate packages. Yeah, so let's see. Oh, best skip broken. Right, so this is kind of classic problem that generally happens with the, this is called dependency hell. DNF update, because there are dependencies on curl. I think that's why it is crying. So I'm not trying to remove it. Sudo dnf install nmap. Let's do this instead. We'll play with it. We'll play with the nmap. Okay, nmap installed. I can do sudo dnf history, and I can do history undo 9. You see, it prompted me to do undo. So why was it failing on curl? The way I think about it, because when we installed, instead of install, it did upgrade. It means curl was already there. And what I believe behind the scenes, curl is a important package that is used by many system utilities to download updates, or to do health checks and manage maintain the system. And there are libraries associated with curl that are not allowed to remove. I think that's why it was doing that. But anyways, you can see here with the DNF history undo, we were able to remove nmap, right? And we can install it again, do some checks with it. So did the installation for Ubuntu, we did dpkg-l, right? Here rpm hyphen ql. Q is query, L is list, and I can do nmap uh, if I can write correctly. So if I say rpm hyphen ql nmap, then it shows me everything it installed, right? So all this was installed by nmap, all these files, right? And remember, I was talking about some dependencies. So you can use this command ldd. So if we do LDD, it says, man, I'm looking at man pages of LDD, right? Print shared object dependencies. It shows you all the dependencies that are there, right? For a command. So you can see it had dependencies on so many things. Package management helps to bring all these together. Whatever, dependent versions are needed, this is the job of package manager to provide you with those dependencies, right? All right, so we did list with the ql. What if I have a file, um, and I want to query what installed, for example, this file, right? I can do rpmqf. So what if there is anything etc red hat release? So if I do red hat release, it says rocky release, right? So if I do rpm hyphen ql query and list, then it gives me everything that it installed, right? Very powerful tools. So if you do rpm hyphen hyphen help, it has way too many options. I would say, look at the man pages for rpm or man pages for dnf. Similarly, do it for yum 2. Yum is still around, but it'll disappear in upcoming versions, right? So yeah, those were the things I wanted to show, that what functionality these package managers provide. There is one more thing that package manager provides is, for example, if I become root and I can show you something, cd etc, let's see, vi etc or sync. Let's try modifying this file, right? I'll modify something in it. Now, as a administrator, how do I know what files got modified in my operating system? Because there are thousands of files, right? So one way is running rpm-va. Va is verify all, right? Now it is going through all the files that got modified. This is one way, right? rpm hyphen, let's say qf. First, let's find what installed this file. Okay, rsync installed, right? Now if I want to verify, I can say verify this package. I verified and it says there is a time difference, there is md5 difference, and that you can figure out, how to read this output. You can figure out with the man hyphen a, I think, hyphen. If you do verify, I think that's where it shows something. Yes, so you can see here in the man pages, it shows what those outputs mean, right? T time difference, 5 is md5 different, size different, right? Because I modified this file, that's why it is crying about it, right? So if I comment it, what happens? That time difference will not go because I still modify it, right? MD5 is same, everything else is same, but time difference, right? There is, you can reinstall this package, you can download the rsync package of this version and then extract the file and place it there. There are ways to kind of recover it. This is how you can go and verify whether something was modified or not, right? Then there are some hands-on examples I have given some homework for you. I would say play with it, see, read more about the package management, be comfortable with the package management. If you see errors, don't just try to kind of execute commands and copy paste like I was doing, right? I was showing you some bad examples. Don't do that, because if you do that, there is a good possibility that you'll end up breaking your system. Since it was a test system, it's a kind of throwaway VM I created. I'm making changes on the fly. If you are doing all this in a production system, make sure you have backups. Make sure you are not doing these changes manually in your server. You make these changes in your source control, push the changes via proper pipelines or infrastructure as code. With that, I'll close. And I got all this information available in this GitHub repository. I'll be posting a YouTube link in this, and enjoy playing with Linux. If you have questions, you find it useful, not useful, whatever kind of feedback you have, please share with me. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a good one. Take care. Bye.